Good morning, everybody. This is Robin Heron, your Carnivorous Grandma here. This is our Carnivorous Grandma Speak series, and I am super excited that we have this bonus episode with Dr. Kiltz this morning. Good morning, Dr. Kiltz.
Good morning, Robin. Really a pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me here today.
Oh my gosh, I am so thankful to have you here. I just want to say that this is the venue where we talk about all things carnivore and proper human diet. And Dr. Kiltz is an MD. He is the founder and director of CNY for Fertility. So super excited to have you here. We're so thankful that you could come. And I'd just like to have you introduce yourself, if you would.
Well, my name is Dr. Rob Kiltz, and I'm a fertility doctor, OBGYN, reproductive endocrinology. I help make babies. That's basically my day job. I own and run CNY fertility centers with amazing 500 other practitioners and nurses and a lot of other people that help make this happen. So it's not just me, but so many people are suffering from infertility. And I got into the fertility business about 30 years ago, and I really enjoy it tremendously. But I fell into the sort of paleo keto space about 20 years ago, and carnivore space almost about 13 plus years ago. And I do a lot of reproductive immunology, nutrition, positivity, faith. We integrate a lot of Eastern and Western medicine in helping people make babies. And that's sort of my day job.
That's amazing, Dr. Kiltz. I wish I would have found you a few years back when my husband and I were going through fertility treatments and trying to have a baby. And we didn't end up being able to have a baby. But yeah, I'm so thankful for the work that you're doing in this space. And I thought this morning I was having a talk with my husband about it. And I was saying, I wonder if I would have found carnivore earlier, that might have made a difference.
I believe carnivore is the game changer. I was just talking with a 29-year young resident in family practice out in California, and she's trying for about 3 months, not long, but she has a low AMH. Her AMH is under 0.5, and
Mm.
trying to figure out, well, why, what's going on. Family history of heart disease, and my suspicion is it's Mediterranean healthy diets are our biggest problem. And I personally found carnivore about 15 years ago. Arthritis, psoriasis, kidney stones, migraines, bowel bleeding, hemorrhoids, all gone in 1 month. I tried keto, I tried paleo, I tried Atkins, did all those things, but it wasn't until I found carnivore that it was a game changer.
Yeah, I found the same thing, that it has been a game changer. I'm a newbie in this space. I just started carnivore back in February. So February 22nd to be exact.
Yeah.
And so many benefits that I've already seen. And then I know that the bodily healing is happening on the inside, even where I don't even, can't even see it or can't even tell yet. So I'm very excited about that. What was it that, I mean, you said it's been about 15 years, but what was it that you heard or that you saw that made you think about carnivore?
Well, probably around 25 years ago, I was going through some emotional struggles in my life. And a good friend of mine taught me about Buddhism, meditation, prayer. Born and raised Catholic, I sort of fell out of favor of Christianity and religions in general, became an atheist. But that
Mhm.
sort of put me back on the trail of understanding God and faith and religions. And I call myself a Catholic Christian. I follow Jesus Christ. I read and talk about him, but I also read Buddhism, Judaism, Islam. I read all the religions because they're all basically a belief in a higher power, which is God within all of us. And so through that, I integrated acupuncture and yoga and meditation and prayer and positivity. I read the book The Secret by Rhonda Byrne years ago, and I began to integrate that within my practice. I opened a CNY fertility and healing arts practice where we integrate all those things. So we're not sending people somewhere else. We have them within our brick and mortar and talk a lot about it, because I think that was one of the things missing in medicine is positivity and faith,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
we need to integrate more of that in modern medicine. So through that, some of my patients were getting pregnant on the paleo diet 20 years ago. I'm like, well, paleo diet, what is that? Didn't know anything about diet. I was healthy, I thought, even though I had suffered from many things. And I began to dig deep into paleo and try to understand paleo and a high fat diet and hunter gatherers and those sort of things. And then I tripped over keto. Maria Emmerich introduced me to keto. I loved her stuff. We wrote a cookbook together. She did most of the work. I did a little bit of the work. She's the real chef and the cook and all this, although I love to cook
Yes.
and I've been doing it for years. And then I ran into Carnivore. I was watching some video one day and a guy is like, doesn't exercise. He's ripped. He looks great. And he says all his diseases went away and all he eats is meat. I'm like, I'm going to try that. And literally, I right now I'm on my 13th year, so next year will be 14
Wow.
years of carnivore. And I sometimes eat some plants, but I'm a meat-based, animal-based eater, and I've never felt better. And so I never really talked about the carnivore very much because it's just sort of a really far out there. But keto and paleo and fasting and faith, I've written a number of books on that, so I really integrate and talk about that a lot. And I've seen
Mhm.
so much benefits from that. But the carnivore I just is like rocking amazing. And so I then went on the journey to figure out the science of it all because I'm a scientist. And
Mhm.
even understanding the science of God is really powerful and amazing, actually. But realizing that plants are the predators and we are the prey.
What? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm doing the Dr. Berry finger here. What?
Yeah.
What did you say? Plants are the predators.
Plants are the actual predators
Okay.
and we are the prey. We love to eat them, drink them, smoke them, inject them, all sorts of things. We love to smell them, and
Mhm.
they are controlling us. They have all the
Mm.
chemicals to control us. Heroin, cocaine, marijuana, nicotine, caffeine, alcohol. They're doing the work in order to thrive and survive. We have changed their DNA to make them more resilient. We store their DNA in places that when there's the big cataclysmic, but the seeds actually do better in fire and in hardship. We don't, and so my theory is simple: the plants are the predators, we're the prey. Plus, if you think about it, um, we have no requirement to ever eat a carbohydrate.
Mhm.
And I read a book by Richard David Feynman called The World Turned Upside Down a number of years ago. When I read this and it said plants or carbohydrates are never required in the human diet, I'm like, what? Wait a minute. We're taught that you need sugar, you need carbohydrates. And it said it didn't. So that
Yeah.
sent me on the truth and reality that plants break down to sugar and sugar glycates and sugar damages the gums, the teeth, the esophagus, the tonsils. It damages the glycocalyx, and very few people talk about the glycocalyx. The glycocalyx is the sugar layer that coats every cell of your body and it
Oh.
protects you.
Oh
So the
yeah, I've never
function
heard
of
of that.
sugar in our body is not for energy. We do not burn glucose for energy. Glucose must be converted to fat in the liver via insulin or you die.
Mm.
We're eating a tremendous amount of plant sugars and they're very antigenic. That means they cause inflammation. And this inflammation is acute and chronic. It depends on your susceptibility. And we're damaging and causing leaky gut, which causes the nutrients not to be absorbed and or to be dumped. And the damage happens potentially in utero, not just the gut, but every cell of your body, our brain. I mean, more and more cancers developing in utero in unborn children that then are born. And we're seeing, my bet is the damage is done that leads to diminished ovarian reserve, diminished testicular function, brain function later in life, all through a plant-based diet. So if you think about it, I always say 5 essential causes of disease, of inflammation. plant sugars, and glucose is not the only sugar, by the way. Glucose, galactose, fucose, mannose, xylose, N-acetylglucosamine, N-acetylgalactosamine, glucuronic acid, and uramic acid are the primary 9 sugars that circulate in our bloodstream that are responsible for something called glycosylation.
Okay.
So glycosylation is the normal addition of a sugar to either a protein, a lipid, or other sugars, while glycation, Glycation, is the abnormal binding of sugars, which causes dysfunctional glycoproteins, glycolipoproteins, and glycolipids. There's a whole alphabet of terms that we're not talking about in the carnivore world.
Wow. You said a lot right there.
I did say a lot, and that's why
I do want to ask a question though, because
sure, please.
My mom went to the doctor this week, and she told the doctor that she was on a carnivore diet. The doctor had never heard of carnivore, first of all. But she tried to explain to her what it was and, the benefits that she had been achieving through carnivore. And the doctor told her, you have to have fruits and vegetables.
Of course.
So I'm just wondering, how far are we from the rest of the medical community actually learning the truth about plants and why we don't need to eat carbohydrates? Very far.
Light years. And it will be unlikely that the standard medical environment will take on carnivore as a entity, because the powers of the marketers and the money makers is strong. It's like religions and politics and just our general cultural beliefs are powerful. And plants are just too addicting that our brain will not believe it. And so in essence, the plants, once again, the plants are making you believe that they're good. And so the medical profession is very biased and close-minded to the possibility that fatty meat is actually good for you and plants are likely bad for you. That's the challenge. And again, I talk about it all the time, and people think I'm crazy. I've already been reported to the licensing board in New York State. The hospital I work at has kind of told me I shouldn't talk to the medical students and the residents about this. So what do? I talk about it because my goal in life is to share the thing that is the most valuable. Interesting enough, and let's just say that you can eat plants.
Okay.
You can. Being a strict carnivore isn't the most important thing, because there are plenty of people who live healthy lives, long lives, both as vegans, vegetarians, Mediterraneans, pescatarians, and carnivorians. But if you have a disease, it's likely secondary, in my opinion, to a plant-based, protein-based, low-fat diet.
I understood. So that's what I think. That's one of my questions that I wanted to ask is, the kind of health issues that can be addressed with a carnivore diet, where a person really actually should take out all plants.
Any and all of them, in my opinion, are secondary to a plant-based, protein-based, low-fat diet. And so the protein, by the way, have you ever heard of protein poisoning or rabbit starvation? So lean meat is also damaging to our body because it turns to sugar in the liver. It glycates. There are 21 amino acids. They're either glucogenic or ketogenic. They basically convert to sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And so the challenge is, and I know for myself, I do pretty well on a low plant, high fat animal meat diet. I do eat some plants from time to time. I'm not the strictest guy in the world, but I don't have them every day. I rarely have them. And I have a very narrow plants. I do some potatoes, French fries occasionally, and I'll do my ice cream, which contains a little cane sugar.
Okay.
And I might have a martini sometimes, but minimize. And
Mm-hmm.
everyone's got to find themselves where they're at. And we should be less judgmental in our conversation. But
Okay.
it's, finding people where they're at and helping them, because I deal with a lot of vegan, vegetarians, Mediterraneans, pescatarians. And so if, I am dogmatic for a lot, but if I'm unwilling to sit down and explain it, because if you add more fat, cook the carbs well, and eat one meal a day or less, you'll significantly reduce inflammation in your body.
Okay. I was going to ask you about OMAD because I hear you talking about that. Somebody, let me just put this up here really quick. Somebody's talking about this and I wanted to kind of bring it up. If I can get my mouse to work here. This right here. It says, Hexander says, good morning. Kiltz has me now up at 5 a.m. now for his daily streams. Lions wake up at 5 a.m. Didn't you know? And I did join your stream a couple of days. I keep trying to get up, but so this week I was up early and I go ahead and watch your show. But why OMAD? What is the key with that?
The damage to the glycocalyx, the sugar layer that protects the gut. By the way, your skin has a sugar layer on it. All cells have a sugar layer. Sugars are hard and they're protective. Fats are soft. So is protein in a sense. Okay. And so by allowing the gut to digest, rest, then it heals. But you're not giving it any time to heal. So the more food you put in the gut, and no one eats only fat. No one eats only fat. You can actually probably eat mostly an adipose diet and thrive and survive, believe it or not.
Wow.
Because
no
adipose
protein,
cells
just mostly
contain amino acids and sugars along with fatty acids and minerals and vitamins.
Wow.
So rather than thinking protein, sugar, and fat isolated as we draw our little stick drawings of what they look like molecularly, where we have to think of them as a organ system. And so there's no organ system that is only fat or only amino acid proteins or only sugar. They're cells which are made up of a phospholipid bilayer, which is the cell membrane, and then embedded in that are proteins with sugars which are bound to those things. And so for most people, think about it. The day they're born to the day they die, they eat more than one meal a day. Most people, 3 to 6 meals a day. So that means your gut is always full of food. It's never empty. It never rests. So if you move your arm all the time, it never stops. What will happen?
I don't know. You get us to build a big muscle?
No. You must rest your muscles. You cannot be nonstop. You must rest. Otherwise you'll damage them. Right. So the more movement, excessive exercise is a cause of disease. The more movement you do, eventually you're going to wear down. But even when you talk about building muscle, you have to rest, right?
Yeah.
You have to have a rest phase. And so we all need to rest and digest. allow the gut to bring in the food, and then allow the cells of the gut to be repaired, replenished,
Mhm.
the glycobiome, all of that to be replenished and repaired. That's so important.
So do you recommend like long-term fasting or just, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. 3 to 6 days, 3 to 7 days. I typically do a 3-day fast once a month, a 2-day fast a few times a month, and then a 5 to 7 day fast twice a year. January, July are my 2 days for the 5-day fast, 2 times for 5-day fasting. And the first Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of the month is my 3-day fast. Because I like to fast on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm not a faster. I don't like to do it
Yeah.
then.
Right.
I like
Yeah,
to
that makes sense.
feast it up,
Yes.
prime it up. That I think is important. So, people, if we understand anatomy and we truly understand physiology, and all of these metabolic pathways are not happening in isolation. It's just a like a bag of worms. It's just moving at light speed. All this stuff is
Mhm.
happening.
Right.
So I think we've got most of it wrong. Glucose is just another glycosylation agent. It's
Mhm.
not direct mitochondrial energy ever.
That's so interesting because, we are hearing that, like in order of how the body burns different things, right? So it's going to burn alcohol first. The body will burn alcohol first and then carbohydrates and then or sugars and then fat. So that's not actually what's
I
happening.
bet that's wrong.
Okay.
Okay, so are we questioning science's belief on food?
Yes.
Why wouldn't we question metabolic pathways? Why
Mhm.
wouldn't we question all science, including
Right.
what we think is keto and carnivore and paleo? These are just made up terms.
Yep.
If you don't eat for a month, okay, will your blood glucose go to zero?
I don't think so.
No, it won't. Okay.
No.
As long as you're not eating food and your gut is now empty of food. Remember, as long as there's food in your gut that you're digesting because you eat 3 to 6 meals a day you're born to the day you die, is your
Mhm.
gut ever empty of food? No. So you got
Nope.
a bucket full of food that is being brought into the bloodstream. It goes through the hepatic portal system. It goes directly to the liver. Proteins break down to amino acids. Plants, complex and simple sugars break down to simple sugars essentially, and they go to the hepatic portal system, go to the liver, and via insulin goes up in relationship to amino acids and sugars. And insulin's job is to convert amino acids and sugars in the liver to fat. That's
Okay.
insulin's job.
Mhm.
Insulin's job is not to put sugar into the cell
Right.
because
Okay.
it diffuses into almost every cell of your body quite readily.
Hmm.
And fat is emulsified and it's taken through the lymphatics, through the thoracic duct into the bloodstream directly into the heart to distribute everywhere because fat is the fuel for the mitochondria, nothing else. Because if you
Wow.
don't eat for a month, do you lose muscle mass or do you lose fat mass?
I would think both.
Nope.
No.
No way.
Okay.
No way. No way.
Hmm.
No way. Bears hibernate for 6 months, and the studies are clear. They lose
Okay.
fat. They do not lose
Oh,
bone
wow.
or muscle, and they grow a baby. How did they lose fat, adipose tissue, and they grew a baby? Where are the building blocks for everything of your body? Adipose tissue.
Wow.
But again, if you're looking for the science to answer that for you, it's not going to.
It's not going to, right?
Common sense. I look at anatomy, physiology, and function.
Okay.
Okay? So if you're an anorexic, bulimic, cachectic, sarcopenic, You will find no one out there that has no muscles, very thin, and has fat, except if you have some muscular dystrophy. Different. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Muscular dystrophy problems are secondary to nerve damage, which no longer innervates the muscles. The muscles must move to stay strong and grow. That's why if you rest on, I broke my leg at age 19. That's when I decided to become a doctor. And I had a cast on for 3 months, cast off on my leg. It's the size of my arm. Why? Because it wasn't moving.
Right.
Okay. And so,
Mm.
so in fact, we lose muscle because we don't use muscle.
Okay.
We lose fat when our caloric intake is less than our caloric expenditure. Now, the question is, what's a calorie? I don't know what it is.
Right.
So, but if you don't eat long enough or you eat a lot less calories, you can lose weight.
Yes, that's true.
Correct?
Mm-hmm.
And you can lift the weights, right? You can do the weights and you will maintain and or build the muscle. That's
Mm-hmm.
why motion is critical and resistance work is critical. When you stand up, your muscles are always in motion. When you lay down, your muscles are doing something. But if you stay lying down in that position long enough time, your muscles will be depleted. So if I don't do
Mm-hmm.
my workout for a month,
Yeah.
my strength is not the same a month later,
Right.
right?
Yep. Yep. I'm doing planks for the month of November, and I'm like at 20 seconds. I can barely hold myself up because my core is just so weak
Well,
from
it's
not doing anything.
it's not weak. It's not as
Mm.
strong as you think it should be.
Okay. Yeah.
So use the right. To me, we have to use the words right because we're
Mm-hmm.
strong. We are very strong. If called to do something really hard and strong, you could do it. The
Yeah.
epinephrine will surge, your muscles will move. See, I think plant sugars are like epinephrine. They're just a drug that makes you feel like you got
Mm.
more energy, like cocaine
Right.
or caffeine, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not an ATP energizer, in my opinion. It doesn't make, yeah, it doesn't make directly ATP. Acetyl CoA comes from fatty acids. So, do you know anyone who has zero fats in their blood?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
That's correct. So why would your body use sugar when it's got fat everywhere?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Can you explain it?
Great question. I can't.
Do
I
you
have
do
no
you
idea.
breathe water
Well,
like with
so why does so let me just think this through because if we talk about, you eat some sugars, it spikes your insulin, right? This is what I'm hearing. It spikes your insulin, and then your body wants to get that sugar out. So
no, it
I
doesn't.
always heard it was burned, like it
No,
burns
no,
that sugar first, but
no,
that's
no.
that's
It
actually
doesn't.
that's wrong.
There's no want to. Okay.
Okay.
So let's just say your sugar levels are supposed to be somewhere between 50 and 80 in a fasting state. I don't know what that number is, but fasting is no food in the gut.
Mm-hmm.
Fasting is not I just didn't eat for 12 hours or 24 hours. Again, we use the word incorrectly, in my opinion. Fasting means I didn't eat. Well, people say I fast every day because
Yep.
I don't eat between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. Okay, that's a fast, but a true fast, in my opinion, is
Mhm.
empty gut. Because if I'm drawing your blood and I'm saying you're fasting, well, you have to have an empty gut for that. Okay. So what if you eat food, it breaks down to amino acids, simple sugars, and fatty acids.
Mhm.
Fat does not spike insulin. Why does it not spike insulin? Because
Ah,
insulin's required to convert amino acids and sugars to fat, but fat's already made and what your body wants because your body wants fat because what are the odds that you're going to need to survive a famine?
Low these days.
Oh,
I mean, I
high,
guess it could be
high,
possible.
very high. Look what's happening in Palestine,
Oh, yeah,
Gaza.
that's true. Yeah,
Okay,
you're right.
wars. Look what's happening in Ukraine, other places. People, the chances of going through a famine, a sickness, disease, and if you're skinny and pregnant and have no access to food, guess what happens? You cannot reproduce.
Can't, yeah,
See,
right.
fat. That's why women who have very low body mass, adipose tissue, stop menstruating
Yep.
because the body is smart. It's not. It's saying, listen, you're not going to get pregnant because if you do, you're not going to survive, and the baby's not going to survive.
Uh-huh.
Fat is not the cause of any disease. Obesity doesn't cause
Mm.
any disease.
Oh, no. Okay.
The cause of disease is what you ate.
Yeah,
Keep it simple.
yeah.
We are highly negative and judgmental to obese people.
Yes, we are.
That is bad. We're Christians, we're doctors, we're humans, we're scientists. The cause of disease is a plant based, low animal fat diet, period. Plants
Wow.
break down to sugars, antigens, chemicals, and they ferment in your gut. Fermentation in your GI tract makes alcohol, aldehydes, heat, gas, and methane. We're intoxicating ourselves and our children
Mm.
because we feed them a plant-based low-fat diet and we feed them 3 to 6 times a day. Their gut is full the day they're born to the day they die of a
Yes.
plant-based low animal fat diet. And it's simple as that. And so spiking insulin is not the cause of disease.
Mm-hmm.
Plant sugars, plant antigens. Insulin's just trying to do its job. If your gut is full of digesting plants all the time, what are you putting into your bloodstream all the time? Sugar.
Oh my gosh, sugar, yeah. That,
Okay.
yep. I
So
just
if
wrote that
I'm
down.
again, I only ate one meal a day, but if it was a high carb, a high complex carb fiber diet, it's going to be
Mm-hmm.
digesting for days.
Oh my gosh.
And then we say,
But this
"Gee,
is a good
doctor,
question
I
that
don't
I
I
have
don't
for
eat very
you.
much."
Yeah, I have a question for you
Sure.
about that because we've been talking about the bowel and bowel movements and how people who are on plant-based diets tend to have more bowel movements more often than people who are on meat-based diets. And so is that because it's just sitting in your gut?
Yeah, it's non-digestible.
That's not
You're
that just
putting a lot of
mm.
non-undigestible food in your gut. Why would you do that? Why'd you put things in your gut that don't digest?
Yeah,
It's
so that's
dumb.
like fiber, when they recommend that you take Metamucil or some other fiber. As a matter of fact, that's what the doctor told my mom is that you have to have fiber. And I was like, "Mom, that's not true. I don't think that's true, Mom."
Robin, you listen. This everything that we look again. Ken Berry's book, the lies my doctor told me.
Mhm,
Just
mhm.
read all of that stuff, and
Yep.
and ultimately, fiber is like steel wool in your gut. It's going to damage
Mm.
the most sensitive cells in your gut. Plus, the microbes love it because they basically eat it and they make heat, gas, alcohol, aldehydes, methane. So, is heating up your gut good for the cells of your gut?
No.
Endometriosis, endometritis, uterine fibroids, adenomyosis, ovarian cancer, ovarian cysts, in my opinion, are secondary to a plant based fermenting diet. And on an
Wow.
animal based, the majority of what you're eating is being absorbed into your hepatic portal system and to your lymphatics. And
Interesting.
again, the job of insulin is to convert amino acids and sugars to fat in the liver. Because let's just say you eat a high protein diet and you don't exercise. Are you going to build muscle?
No.
No, you don't. Where's it going?
Out the stool, I guess. I don't
No,
know. It's
no,
not
no,
going
it's
out.
convert. So look up the
Sorry.
21 amino acids,
Okay, yeah.
and amino acids are converted to sugars and ketogenic precursors
Mm-hmm.
that basically through the Krebs cycle, they also they'll make acetyl-CoA, pyruvate, then acetyl-CoA, and they're made into fat. Because
Wow.
what's our biggest problem in the world? Is it skinny or is it
No,
fat?
it's overweight for sure.
Right. Now,
Yes.
now again, why are we overweight? Well, 3 to 6 meals a day, plant-based, lean meat.
Mm-hmm.
Plant-based and lean meat. That's a
That's
Mediterranean diet, essentially.
yes, yes.
And that's the global diet.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about some of the wars happening in the world, we're shipping grains around the world in order to feed the people that are starving. And then
Yes.
we're making more agriculture, more farming. We're taking away the grazing animals
Yes.
areas.
Yep.
And so the propaganda that we share is everyone should eat a fiber-filled diet, 3 to 6 meals a day, and they get plenty of their proteins from eating beans and rice,
Right.
which is basically a plant-based diet which makes sugars. And
Mm-hmm.
what's the leading disease going on in the world? It's diabetes.
Diabetes, yeah. Yeah.
And now we got all these drugs that are used to treat diabetes, and now we're figuring out, oh my God, we could treat obesity. So it's really, I'm going to give you a diet that's going to get you diseased and give you a drug, and we're going to make a
Yes.
lot of money.
Yep. That's exactly what's happening. I was thinking about when you were talking about fibroids. There's a prevalence of this fibroids in the African American community in particular. I had severe fibroids. I'm now in menopause, but I mean, I had to have surgeries, and I had severe pain and cramping and bleeding, and it was just terrible. And a lot of our young ladies are having hysterectomies because of fibroids. So they're never going to have kids, naturally. What is it?
29
Right?
fibroids we took out
Oh
of a
my
young woman the other day.
God.
And
Wow.
and basically, and I took fibroids out of my daughter recently.
Mhm.
And basically fibroids are tumors. They're they're not cancerous very commonly. They're very rarely cancerous, but they're
Mhm.
tumors like a cancer. It's not a
Mm.
type of cancer that kills people in general, but it does cause a lot of bleeding and pain and a lot of terrible diseases that women are suffering from around the globe.
Yeah.
And you're right, women of color, men of color, tend to be suffering more and more. And the number of women dying over the last 3 years from pregnancy is on the rise,
Mm.
mostly in women of color.
Yes, I have heard that. I mean, we have programs and things like that in the community that talk about this, you know, um, infant mortality and
Yes.
women's mortality as they're having babies. So, yes, that's definitely a huge problem.
Morbidity, mortality doubled over the COVID time. And we don't
Wow.
know the cause, but I think it's all on the rise anyway because of misinformation
Yes.
of the wrong diet. And when I talk about, I call it the baby's diet.
Hmm.
I don't know if you could see this.
Yes. Yes.
Bacon, eggs, butter, beef, occasionally my ice cream and salt. This is the
Okay.
healthiest diet you can eat, and it's the baby making diet. I call it babies for babies
Okay.
diet. And
Oh,
it is
wow.
very radical. And it eliminates fruits and vegetables, seeds and nuts of any significance or frequency. And I've seen pregnancies happen in people they say, oh, that'll never happen. I've seen diseases go away for me, and I see it for so many. I suffered migraines, arthritis, kidney stones, bowel bleeding, hemorrhoids. Oh my God, it's horrible.
Gosh. Yes.
Depression, anxiety. And I believe criminality and suicidality are all related to the same thing,
The
which
bad
is
diet.
radical.
Wrong diet. Yeah. That's amazing.
And everyone in the world is suffering, and we need to get the word out that there is another way.
Yeah. Yes. I agree. That's why I have my channel.
Yes, I'm
Started my
inspired by
channel.
what you're doing. Inspired.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kiltz. Yeah, I just want to make sure. So I feel like there's a gap in my community, African
Yes.
American people of color. There's a gap when I look around and see who is doing carnivore, particularly on YouTube, because that's where I do most of my research, is that there was nobody that is of color that I could see that is doing this and that is talking about it. So we had the Black Carnivore. She was a unicorn in the space. Amazing, amazing person. And if I would have found her out there still actively doing her thing, I might not even be here today.
Yeah.
But Carrie from Homestead How encouraged me and said to me and everybody else, you need to do your YouTube channel. Start a YouTube channel if you're doing this, because we need to hear the stories of people who are making these life changes and seeing all these benefits, this organic grassroots type of a thing that we're doing out here. So that's why I'm here doing this channel.
And the most important thing is we just keep sharing and keep talking about it, inspiring people, and the lights will shine and they will show
Yes.
up. And we're the example. And we're not here to fight anyone, and we're here to work with everyone and anyone. And I talk to people about how they can do keto as a vegan and vegetarian. Vegetarians are
Yes.
easy, and vegans, all they need to do is is add fat, and it's basically coconut fat,
Mm-hmm.
and cook the carbs well and eat less frequently. The challenge is, we know for vegans you have to supplement. You're not getting
Yes.
the B vitamins and the vitamin D's and things like that. If you're in the vegetarian, it's eggs, cream, cheese. So simple. Butter.
That's really awesome. I appreciate that information because I have a grandson who is vegan and I'm quite concerned. He's about to turn 17 in about a week, and I'm concerned about his physical body, his brain health. Certainly in my family, there's a lot of anxiety and depression, of bipolar. There's a lots of different kind of mental challenges that we have. So I'm concerned about him for that reason, but I will tell him that he should be eating more fat, if he's going to be vegan.
If you could bring them to the vegetarian side, it's a lot better to do eggs,
Okay.
cream, butter, and cheeses. The eggs are
Mhm.
really good. That's why my ice cream is really great. And again, people all love ice cream. And again,
Yes.
we're not some chocolate, some cookies, some cakes, some ice cream. I'm one that I do it from time to time. We should, what we're learning to do is be minimizers,
Mhm.
and we all can do it, but you've got to decide for yourself where you are at and where you want to be and what you want to start. That's what I say, because remember, amino acids are like sugars. They
Mhm.
require insulin, and they require a healthy liver.
Okay.
And by the way, someone mentioned Dr. Tony Hampton here, and I was going to mention, because I know you know
Yes.
Dr. Tony Hampton. He's a rock
Yes.
star
Yes.
also,
Yes. He
in the carnivore
is.
space. But the challenge here is to realize that plants are never required in the human diet, and fat is critical to eat. Our
Yeah.
immune system requires fat. Our our every system of our body requires fat, and cholesterol is not the cause of any disease. A low
Oh,
cholesterol
that's
is.
a good one. That's so good because, I did see a couple of people that were doing their labs recently on their shows, and they were saying, like, my LDL is really high, and my doctor wants to put me on a statin. And, they're like concerned about
Yeah.
the high LDL.
No. I stopped measuring your cholesterol or your triglycerides, your
Mhm.
lipid. We keep on trying to find something that those tests are valuable for. Hemoglobin A1C, C-reactive protein, and ESR. And again, you can look at your fasting sugars and your fasting insulin, but remember, fasting is no food in the gut.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 3-day fast, at
How
least for most of
okay,
us.
3 days, yes.
3
I was gonna
days.
ask how long, yeah, okay.
And again, and stop measuring all these numbers. And your glucose, people do not, you don't want a glucose that is flat,
Mhm,
because if it's flat, unless you're fasting for a month, it's likely that way because you keep eating this, like lots of little meals all the time.
oh,
And
okay.
remember,
Mhm,
your sugars, my fasting sugar is 52. I'm still doing my lives, my weights, my workout, my
mhm,
moving, and my
yes.
3 naps a day.
3 naps a day,
Yeah.
nice, that's awesome.
10 minutes meditation, prayer, naps a day.
Nice, that's awesome. So we do have a couple of questions in the chat. I want to make sure that we get to those. So I just want to bring this up. Hexander says, would oxalate dumping impact feet only? I'm trying to figure out after being 120 days plus days on carnivore, if it's gout or something else. Seems to come and go sporadically.
It could be oxalate dumpings. I don't know if you can measure oxalate dumping. This is just another theoretical thing that's going on in our bodies. But just because you're carnivore doesn't mean you're going to be free of the arthritis, the gout, the things that happen, even a migraine from time to time. I mean, there's things we breathe, drink, and eat that you can't see, that get into our body, and they're microscopic, and they cause damage, especially to those places that have had damage before.
Mhm,
There's scar tissue in areas of our body, and there might even be, for some people, they have crystals, just like they have kidney stones that could be there for a while, and it just shows up one day, and you say, "Gee, I've been carnivore for 5 years." I mean, I got some calcific tendonitis in my right shoulder. I got some bursitis in my left elbow, and I just rest them, and maybe I've gone to the doctor. I get a steroid injection from time to time, but I mean, at one time. And overall, I feel really great. But yeah, I think that it's we're exposing our bodies to what we breathe, drink, eat, and what gets through our skin. And
mhm,
they're trying to take you down. You're
yeah,
breathing pollen. Again, even when you eat meat, remember you're eating animals. You're going to get some particles in that animal that animal ate or breathed or drank, that got
mhm.
embedded in its cells, its muscle cells or its fat cells that you're consuming.
Thank you so much for that answer. I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at this one. This is United Carnivore. Sometimes in life you may feel you need proof. If you do, please just look in the mirror. Let's strive to help other people every single day. Amen. Thank you both for doing your part. Yes. Thank you very much, United Carnivore. And there's another.
Mirror work is so critical. Look in the mirror and see the goddess and the gods within, and laugh
Mm,
at yourself and hug yourself. Give yourself I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. That's
positivity.
Yeah. Every day, every day, every day.
That's awesome. Yes. So then he also says, I think this is a he, maybe a she. Walking in weights. Do your get-ups every single day. Occam's razor says a simple way is the way. Gratitude and happy with everything that comes my way. Everything happens for a reason. Amen.
And it's always a good reason, because God loves you. It might be hard, it might be challenging, but you don't build unless you have challenges and hardship. But everything is a gift from God. You have to just change the way.
Amen.
Yeah.
Totally agree. This is so informative. It really is, Dr. Kiltz. I'm gonna actually have to go back and listen to this and like take a whole bunch of notes. I have a page of notes here, but still, you said so much good stuff that I really need to go back and make sure that I study this because, I'm just a regular grandma. I have 11 grandkids
Awesome. God bless
and
you.
I'm just regular. You know what I mean? I don't have any kind of a medical degree. I have my daughter who's a PA. She's my person that I talk to about a lot of different things. And then I'm not a nutritionist or any kind of a person that's a dietary specialist. But what I do know is the things that I have seen personally in my own life, the changes that I've seen, as far as getting rid of depression, getting rid of anxiety for the most part, just trying to take care of some little tweaks to my diet, which I think will help with that anxiety problem. All the different things that you talked about with your health, I've had some resolutions, but as I think somebody was talking about potentially having gout, that inflammation in the body, like it just hurts all over. You don't even realize you're in pain until you're not in pain anymore.
Yeah.
So this is a really good, so much really good information here.
And the
Stuff that
beauty
we didn't realize.
of the
Mhm.
world today is that knowledge is everywhere and access is free. You go to the library and everyone has access. I mean, 100, 200 years ago, there wasn't access for very few. You had to get accepted to a university. And,
Mhm.
doctors the same way. It's like, well, I know. But then suddenly the internet opened up and then people talk about it. Now you can cure yourself on your own from just reading
Right,
things. Right.
right.
And so I never look at people's degree. I don't care what their
Mhm.
degree is. If you got a pulse and you're breathing, you have the ability to be you're the doctor. I'm not your doctor. I'm just giving
Mhm.
you ideas and advice that I've learned. Technically, I mean, I'm a surgeon and I do some things that require some
Mhm.
skills that I've learned, but I could teach you these skills and you could do them also. But the most important, powerful thing is do your own research
Yes,
and dig deep.
absolutely.
That's why I
Mhm.
write books and I do blogging and I read everything and constantly digging deep. And that's why I question everything. I
Mhm.
question the metabolic pathways. I question glucose is the energy of the body. No way. No way.
Wow. It's funny because, the ways that we're talking about things, just having talked to you about this, it's like, okay, I need to change the words that I'm saying about how things are. And then also, you know, people are pretty confident that what they're saying is actually accurate.
Well, well, even me. And look, I could be wrong. One day, someone will say, "Oh, he's completely wrong." Okay, but it's something doesn't make sense to me. I question it. My sister died
Yes.
of diabetes at age 52. She had it since age 4.
Mhm.
My best friend from medical school, Dave Kilmer, died of cancer at 52. When those people died, I questioned science. I said, "Well, something's wrong." And
Right.
most people have never heard of the glycobiome.
Mhm.
The microbiome is deadly for our body, by the way. Microbes in our gut are killing
This
us.
is the tummy, inside the tummy, right? That's what
Deadly.
your doctor was saying, that you have to have carbs for your gut microbiome to be correct,
You're
right?
right. You have to have carbs to fuel your microbiome so they cause damage and disease to you so we can make a lot of money on you.
Wow.
Look at James Henry Salisbury's book. I got it here somewhere. I don't know where I got it, but his book is amazing. And it's Salisbury steak. Okay. Did anyone know he's a doctor, 1850s, Albany Med? He figured out that he fed his men meat and stopped
Mm.
eating them, feeding them plants, and they got better.
Wow.
And basically, in the gut, fermentation, the microbes go up through the esophagus into the upper and lower respiratory systems. They go out through the rectum, they go into the vagina, or they go into the penis, urethra. They go everywhere.
Wow. So I wanna just ask this question. I was asked to ask you about libido, whether or not a carnivore diet can help with libido.
Well, so plant sugars glycate, they damage your reproductive organs, they damage the blood system that feeds the reproductive organs. They
Mhm.
damage the hormone, the cells that make your hormones, and the cells that have the receptors to your hormones. So, a standard American Mediterranean diet is deadly for our reproductive system and our libido.
Mm.
And so going carnivore, and when we use the word carnivore, it's fatty meat and fasting to me. It's not 3 to 6
Okay.
meals a day. It's
Mhm.
one meal. You might have a little snack because food's everywhere and it's hard not to eat more than just, but yeah, hard to just eat one. But I make it bacon and butter and those sort of things if I'm going to have a little bit. But yeah, libido is improved, reproduction is improved, baby
Wow.
making is improved.
Okay, very good. We got another question here. That's great. I'll make sure I get that information to the person if they didn't join the live today. So here's a question from Whitney. Do you know of anyone that has helped heal their lipedema with keto carnivore? I've doing ketovore for a year and have noticed a big difference in the legs, but still have water retention at night.
Well, the damage to the lymphatics and the vessels is caused by glycation, and those are critical for the movement of the fluids from the adipose tissue. Lipedema is basically the adipose tissue becomes very nodular because of lymphatic drainage is bad, and basically you can't drain the fluid, so it becomes swollen, painful, and unsightly for many people. They believe that. But a ketovore carnivore,
Mm-hmm.
keto, paleo, keto, carnivore, in my opinion, are high fat diets. They're not low carb diets. They're high fat diets. They're not high protein diets. They're high fat diets because you eat
Okay.
fat. It kills the microbes, suppresses inflammation, and heals the body. That's why it's so important. Absolutely, it'll help that tremendously.
Awesome. Thank you for that answer. I have this one. I want to make sure we get to this one because it's talking about the kiddos, and those are close to my heart. So what are they supposed to eat? What are kids supposed to eat?
Bacon, eggs, butter, beef, and salt. Any animal product, fatty meat. I mean, basically, lions eat a very narrow food source, don't they? You see,
Mm-hmm.
we want variety, and variety is deadly. You can't have boyfriends and girlfriends on the side. Sorry.
All
And a
right.
varietous diet is deadly for us. Boring is the best way to a baby. Our children, our children are carnivores. They're lion-like. That's what we're supposed to eat. Fatty
Yes.
meat, eggs, bacon, butter. I mean, think of it. Butter and cream and these are processed foods. I mean, humans
Mm-hmm.
really made them. Go out and hunt and eat the fattiest meat, eat the organ meats, uh, eat eat the visceral fat. If you
Mm.
feed fat to a cow, the cow dies because the
Mm-hmm.
fat kills the microbes in its gut because the fat is the microbes are critical for the breakdown in the rumen or those ruminant animals. But in humans, eat the fat suppresses inflammation, and it's the building block because adipose tissue contains fatty acids, amino acids, simple sugars that are critical for glycosylation, and it contains the minerals and vitamins your body needs.
Awesome. I just want to have you say one more time, what is it that we should be eating? Can you just give us that list one more time?
Bacon, eggs, butter, beef, Kiltz's ice cream, and salt. I call it the babies for babies diet.
Okay.
And it's
Awesome.
simple. And there's the triple BE for Ken Berry's
Triple
beef,
B and
butter, bacon, eggs. I mean, that's look at I'm a making baby diet doctor,
yes.
and this is radical. And again, you can play with it. You can do chicken, bone broth, bone marrow. I don't make fake food. I don't try to make a pizza out of meat. Why would I do
Right.
that? I'm going to eat a pizza
Okay.
if I'm going to do that. Right.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Yes.
eat some of those things sometimes, but rare times. For me, it's the baby's way. And
Okay.
again, it's the most radical thing you and I will hear and understand. But fat is the building block for your babies and for your body. But
Right.
adipose tissue, think of the cell with all of its building blocks that are critical for your survival and thriving.
Awesome. So Sandra, I don't think you need to cut down on red meat. I think you to eat more fatty red meat.
And red meat, beef is actually the healthiest meat to eat. That's
Yes.
why it's the most expensive and the best. But again, you can eat a meat based diet on a budget. It's so
Right.
simple because when you're eating the plants, they cause the damage and disease, plus they go bad quick. Meat, dry ages. Oh my God, it's the very best. I dry age my meat all the time. Love it dry
Yeah.
aged. But check out my book,
Mm.
Kiltz's Keto Carnivore, and we're coming out with the new babies for babies diet book that's coming out, and share your story. That's so critical.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Thanks, Dr. Kiltz. We are at 59 minutes and 48 seconds, and I just want to say this time went so fast.
I know. I
Oh
love
my
it.
gosh. I want to invite you to come on my new show that's going to be coming up here on Monday nights. It's going to be the Fierce Felines, Meeting Mondays with the Fierce Felines. And we will definitely reach out to you and have you come and be a guest on our show.
And you could be a guest on mine, although we might overlap a little bit. We do 7:30, but we'll figure something out. Even if just for 10 minutes and stuff. Love it. Listen, I say yes to everything because I love to talk about this stuff. And but have faith in God first. Faith, God first. And that's the thing that we need to talk about more and more and more in this beautiful healing health world. And let's bring peace to the world. That's what we need to work on for everyone.
Amen. Thank you, Dr. Kiltz. I appreciate you being here. I'm going to let you go. I know you got to go travel today. So
I have to go make some babies.
Oh, go make babies. Yes, go make babies. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you next time.
God bless you, Robin. Appreciate you and everyone for being here.
Thanks.